Hi friends and welcome in. Hello, hello my beauty buddies. Welcome in everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Happy middle of the week. I hope you guys are doing wonderful and fantastico. My friends, welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining and continuing to build this beautiful community. Thank you guys so much for your support. So awesome. You guys are rock stars. We are in good company. You know, I do wish I could play some music in the background. All of it is so tightly copyrighted. Oh, I shall not digress. Anyway, I've never really quite done this. I usually always have our project ready on the mat to go, right? Well, then I was basically because I was sorting. I was sorting my August bag. Then it's so hot, guys. I was getting like weird and dizzy. I just do not do well in the heat. I thought I'm gonna stop and get myself a good meal. So I made myself a nice meal. And then I came back and then I was finishing sorting. So I have pulled a couple of things. So this will be my tray that I typically will put my sparkle bags on every month, and then I will design off my tray, and then when I'm done designing, I'll put everything away. So I've got my cording. I also pulled some of this from my stash. This is the wax knotting cord. Now we got the rainbow cord, right, in our bag. I have the same millimeter in the wax in this cool neon, I don't know, is it neon yellow, neon green, tomato? Anyway, and some of these cool black matte bicones, some cool silver bead caps, a cool piece of chunky black chain I have, and some of my scraps of some other chain. And I've got that here. So that is what's going on here. So I just thought I would pop on because, guys, I was just thinking when I started sorting my bag, and now I'm done sorting, that I just thought of a really cool bracelet idea, but I'm not really sure. I wanted to kind of talk it out a minute. So that's what we're going to get into. And by the way, you know, you guys can see right before me on my thumbnail what this is going to turn out like. I know we're about to do a sliding closure knotted bracelet, but I'm not sure because I haven't decided because we're going to decide right now. And then, you know, it's just going to be beautiful because you cannot go wrong in any of these colors that they just mix, match. You can put them all together, have a lot of boldness, can get some softness and some elegance in here as well. Nevertheless, we can certainly get our sparkle on. So what I was thinking, because when I was sorting these beads, these cool chevron beads we got with these silicone drilled center, the cording does fit through that. In fact, the cording you got in the bag, the 0.8 millimeter, fits through all of our beads beautifully. So I thought those would be cool for like a stopper bead. So I was thinking about using those. And then another thing, guys, before I push everything, and then we're going to decide, because I haven't even decided yet. So you got your chandelier component, and you have a loop on the top and the bottom. And what I did with a couple of mine friends is I actually took off one side of my loop, and then I just filed it nicely here. Now, I have an idea, because I have an idea for a cool necklace, and I want this to be a really cool drop with the 3 loops on either side. So you can do that, guys, and it turns out just fine. If you pop it off and file it nicely, you can do that if you want to not have a loop on both sides. So I did that, I wanted to mention that I did that. And I did not undo my abacus strand because I'm not sure. Now, was about to use this right now, but then I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I have a really cool idea what I want to do with some cording right now. But I'm not sure if I want to use the hot pink with the clear crystals, or do I want to use the abacus strand because I do want to use the gemstones. Now, I did put all my gemstones in one tray, friends. So we've got our Persian Jade and Imperial Jasper. I put all mine in one container. And then I've got my lava rocks and my lamp work, my Millefiori lamp work in one tray here. I don't know, guys. I'm thinking of such a cool idea. This is going to be so cool when we get going. I almost want to use the Imperial Jasper. This is just so beautiful. Oh my gosh, the colors in here are just stupendous. But we're going to use the rainbow cording. And I don't think we can go wrong, but I almost want to use the abacus strand too. I know I'm not going to use it. Okay, so let me just pull it together, friends. Let me get rid of what I know. I don't think I'm going to be using 8mm. I think I'm going to stick with some 4s and 6s right now. But see, then we can also use this rainbow metallic. Oh my gosh, there's just so many options, but I want to get going in this bag with something really fun. So I know for sure we are going to use some of the rhombus beads. I know we're going to use those. And I'm not sure, friends, what I wanted. Like, we could go with the Persian Jade, which is a lot of the pink shades and the grays. We could do that with the blue. You know, that's a complete vibe. We could also do it with the hot pink. That might also be a really fun vibe. And then we have that metallic bead stopper at the end. That might be fun. That might be fun. Let me see here. Pretty sure our cording is not going to give us any trouble, although I did not prepare my cording. I probably need to do that. Maybe we'll go with, you know, we could also do this, guys. Decisions. We could also go with the clear bicones because you'll be able to see that cording through. That's a vibe. I don't know. Let me see. Guys, okay, so I'm not going to use any of these. I'm almost thinking that maybe we'll do, let's see. Maybe should we do the pink with the blue? It's either the pink with the blue or it's going to be the pink with the pink. Maybe we'll go that route. Let's go that direction. Okay. I just decided. I made my decision. Okay, and then the abacus will hold up. Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do. Okay, and then we will need some findings here, the jump rings and the clasps. So here is what we're going to do. What we're going to do, guys, is we are going to get some cording here. Now, I've got a very, very, very long piece. I do not need that long. So we're going to get 4 pieces of cording. Or 3, excuse me. We're going to do 3 pieces of cording right now. Let me get organized, guys. So we're going to go about, I usually go about 1.5 rulers. So let's do that. So let's get to where the pink and yellow portion is. So let's see, we'll go about there, and then we'll end here, just so we have enough. Okay, so let me go there. And then I'm going to cut a second piece that is exactly the same length. And then I'm going to cut, that's not quite long enough. I need a third piece that's about half this length. So we'll go probably about 1 ruler length on, maybe about 1 ruler length, something like that. Okay, so now we have our 3 pieces of cord. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, guys, is I am going to leave about 2 inches or so at the end, right? And that'll be so that we have enough for our sliding knot closure. And so we've got that there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape that down. You can use anything that you've got, a tying station. You can use that. I am going to go ahead and make sure all 3 are lying next to each other here. And I'm going to tape down 2 inches that I'm not going to be beading on. Okay, there we go. So I've got that taped down. Okay, so now we have our long cords here and then this center cord. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take my 2 outer cords and I'm just going to do a couple of square knots to get myself started here. And we'll probably do just like 2, maybe 3. So we'll just start out with a couple of square knots here. So there is 1. It's probably completely out of camera, but I gotta get it started here. Okay, and then we'll do this side. And if you're not familiar with square knots, friends, I will show you a closer view when we get to the closure, because we're going to do a square knot closure for our sliding closure, and I will zoom you in for that. So there's one, and then let me do a second one here. Square knots are really easy knots. They're very, very decorative and pretty, and they require 2 rotations. 1 rotation on the right and then 1 rotation on the left, and that completes. So basically a square knot is 2 knots to complete the knot. So that's 2 knots there. And I think I'm going to do just 1 more. So we'll do a third. So we start out with 3 square knots. And then we'll complete that knot on this side here. And so we've got 3 square knots there. Okay, so now we've got our outer cords, my friends, and then we have our inner cord. So what I am going to do, I am going to actually flush cut each of my cords on, or excuse me, not flush cut, I'm going to cut them on an angle, make them like a self needle here, and it does help when we're feeding our beads through. Okay guys, I am back, and I have adjusted also my tape here so you can see in camera. Let me zoom you in a little bit there so you can see. There are my 3 square knots that I started out with. And what I basically did, friends, was I just made some self needles here. I used my Loctite super glue gel control, and I just put a little dab of it on the ends of all 3 of my cords, cut them on an angle, and let them dry for about a minute. And now we will have a whole lot easier of a time. So let's go back to it, guys. So we are working with our outer cords now to put on 6 of our rondelles in the hot pink here. So we are going to do this on both cords. Now, it's going to be maybe a little tougher for a minute or 2 to get your beads through. It's just your glue. Once it really, you get a flow of feeding your cording on your beads, it'll get a lot easier. But it does help. But it just, obviously, you know, the glue adhering on our cord, guys, it makes our cord feel a little bit thicker. But after a couple, like you can see, they're starting to go through a whole lot easier. So there is 6 on that strand, and now there is going to be 6 on this strand. I hope you guys are not as hot as me. Oh, let me tell you what is going on in my world. Oh, and guys, if you are part of my newsletters, you just received an email. If you are not signed up to receive my emails, my newsletters, I just sent one out today, guys. I have curated some beautiful stasher bags. Oh my gosh, you guys, you might want to take a look before they're gone. I did a bunch of mixes of basically almost all of the sparkle bags that I have done so far this year, just to help move some of the inventory and start getting in the fall and the winter beautiful, beautiful goodness that we need. So this is what we have. We have 6 and 6. Now I'm going to take the center cord and I'm going to put on one of our Persian Jade. Okay? And so there we go. There's that. I wonder maybe if I need to do less. Do I need to do less than 6? Let's see. It's almost designed on the fly out of my own bag here, guys. Maybe we do... Yeah, maybe we do 5. Maybe we do 5. And then we let that bead move about in there. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 5. Hashtag modify. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do, friends, is I am going to now do a square knot on that middle cord. So I'm going to take this cord and we'll do a loop. This cord on the left is going to go over the top, and then I'm going to feed it underneath and pull it up through this loop. So that'll be the first part of our knot. And once we get a run or 2 in, this will get a whole lot snugger. And then we will go and do the left knot here to complete our square knot. And we need to pull that tight. So I'm going to push these beads up here, get them to where they're just how I want them, and then we're going to pull that nice and snug. And so now we have kind of this gemstone floating in the center, showing that beautiful cording through. Okay, so there is our first run, and then we're going to do that again. So we're going to put a Persian Jade down the center strand, and then we are going to do 5 of the hot pink 4mm on each strand. So there's 1 and 2. And 3. There's 4 and 5. Okay, so there's 5. And then we'll go down to this cord over here and do the same thing. By the way, guys, I don't know why I said a minute ago that we will be pulling on our hardware, because no, we will not. We're doing a sliding knot closure, so I will not be needing a clasp or a jump ring. Oh my goodness, so that's 4 and now 5. Okay, guys, so there we go. We're going to go ahead and slide those up, okay? And now what we're going to do is another square knot. So we will take our right cord over the center. The left cord goes over that cord. And then we're going to come right through the intersection underneath those 2 cords and up through the loop. And that is our first knot. And then we need to complete the knot. And so we'll go make our P shape, and then we'll take this cord, lay it over that left cord, and bring this tail up through the intersection and through the loop. And then we will pull that nice and snug. And it's just so cute. Loving this. So I'm going to continue to do this, my friends, until I get the length that I need to get to. So I'll fast forward here for you guys. So again, we're gonna do 5 4 millimeters on each strand, and then slide one of your 6 millimeters in on that center cord, and then we do a square knot. Okay, my friends, I am back, and so here's what I've decided to do. So I've decided that I am going to do just 5 of my sections. So I'm going to do 5 runs of my sections, and we're going to have cording for the rest. So basically, I am on my last run now. Okay, so I thought I'd pull you back in here. Okay, so you can see what I've got. So I've got my 2 longer outer cords and then my center cord. So we're gonna do down that center cord. I'm gonna put my last 6 millimeter of the Persian Jade, and I believe it's Dusky Bloom is the color. And then I'm gonna do on each cord 5 of our hot pink rondelles, and these are 4 millimeters. They're almost so light, even though they're hot pink, that the holes are a little hard to see. So there's 4 and then 5. And by the way, guys, if you want, there's a lot of ways you can modify. You can do multiple square knots in between. If you want, I just did one. You know, if you wanted to do a couple of square knots in between each section, that would be really pretty. Also, you could add 2. So if I'm using 4 and 6 millimeters in the center, so or 4 millimeters and 1 6 millimeter, if you wanted to stick with the 5 on the outside, you could absolutely get 2 6 millimeters in the center here. I just wanted some of this random color and cord to show through, and I kind of like it. Kind of like almost looks like floaty, so I just like the floaty look of it. So lots of ways that you can modify a fun design like this. So I hope you guys are enjoying and you're inspired. And again, I would really love if you guys show me your creations. Utilize that communities tab that I posted for you all. You can feel free to, put up some questions or comments, or your work you're working on. If you guys are selling anything, anything within reason, that is, my friends. We will be good now. So there we go. All right, that's what we've got. So now I'm going to finish off my section. So now what I need to do is I need to do my 3 square knots like I started, okay? So we will go with the right cord, our P shape. Okay, we will lay that directly over our core cord. We will take the left, make sure that it's laying over this cord, and then we're going to come down underneath through the intersection and up through this to the loop here. So that's our first knot, and we're not going to pull it too tight just yet. And now to complete our knot, we'll do our P shape over here. And then we'll pick up this cord, make sure it's over the other cord, and then down through and under through to the loop over here. And then we pull, and that completes a full square knot rotation. And so I'm kind of holding this core cord down here and just getting these pulled into position. Now, if I want to tighten them up, I can absolutely pull these cords up a little bit. But I do want it to have a little symmetry. That was a little much. So let me pull that knot down a little bit before I get the rest of the knots in there. And I just did it again. Okay, then pull it together here. So that's what we've got, okay? And now we will do 2 more square knots. So we'll do our P shape over the core cord, pull the left cord, we're going to go underneath the intersection and up to the loop. And then we'll go ahead and pull that nice and tight. And then to complete the knot, we'll do our P shape, come on top of the cord, and pull the tail, push the tail underneath the intersection and up through the loop. So that is our second square knot there. And then we will do our third and final square knot. And look at all those fun colors. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Love that. Okay, and so now I'm going to untape this side and get rid of that. And now this is what we have. Okay, so essentially we need to just make sure that our knots are tight. Okay, and now what we're gonna do, guys, is we are going to put our bracelet like this. And then what we're gonna do is kind of overlap our cords like this, basically. Okay, now I'm gonna grab another cord. So here's a piece that's about 6 inches. I'm gonna get a little bit longer of a piece. Now they're probably both the same. They're basically both the same. So it's about an 8-inch piece, okay? So I am going to come over, under all of those cords, okay? And we're gonna make a regular overhand knot. And we're gonna go ahead and pull that, okay? And now we'll do a couple of square knots here. You can do as many as you want for a closure. And then we'll complete the knot. So there's one. And we'll do another one. Hopefully I have enough cord for at least 3. Gotta go under all those cords there. Boy, guys, it's getting pretty short here. Okay, and then we'll do a third one if we can get it in. I think we can. I think I can. That should be plenty. 3 should be plenty for a sliding closure here. Okay. And there we go. Okay, and now, my friends, and that's what we have. We've got lots of, don't be overwhelmed by the amount of cording. We shall deal with that right now. But you do want to make sure before we're going to start to singe and what have you, we are going to want to put a stopper bead right on this one before, because this side was shorter, right? So we're going to want to do that. Okay, but you want to kind of push your knots back and forth to make sure that they're not too tight. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get to the 3 small cords here, which are this end right here, okay? And I'm just going to pull them all to where they are straight. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is push that up. Now what I'm going to do, guys, is I am going to grab one of my stopper beads here and put it through that middle cord, and then we will just tie an overhand knot right here. And I'm going to pull that down a little bit, and I think one overhand knot is going to do it. It is, because that's a really small hole there on that silicone bead. I'm going to cut that pretty close, and then I'm going to grab my lighter, and we will just singe that little section right there. Okay, so that guy's all dandy. And now we are going to take the other two cords and we will make an overhand knot. Let me grab my tweezers, guys. And same thing, I'm going to pull those pretty close to the edge. I'll just snug those up. And then we will flush cut and singe. And this lighter is just about out, guys. Okay, I think that's going to hold. I think that's going to hold okay. And that side is done, and now we will go over to the other side. Well, let's get rid of our knot. So there's our knot, right? We can get rid of those cords now. So we can flush cut. That's our sliding knot closure. And then we'll singe. And same thing over here. Just pull that. We'll flush cut that guy. And then we'll singe that. Oh, you know, it might be my fan. I have so much wind going on in here. Okay, guys, and so our sliding knot closure is done, and one side is tied off with 2 knots and 1 bead. And now we've got our other side here. So we need to pull this to the edge. And now we will make sure that that can go on, which it can. We can even go a little less. So you just want to make sure that your bracelet for your sliding knot closure here is basically going to fit through the widest part of your hands. So that's still plenty. So I can pull that a little bit more. Okay, so now I will grab this middle cord, which is this one, and then we'll put that bead, that stopper bead on there, and then we'll just tie an overhand knot, and then I'll pull that down, and we'll flush cut and singe. Okay, and now we just have 2 more. So these guys right here, we'll just go ahead, just measure them up to this one here, and we'll just tie an overhand knot. And we'll go through the loop and grab those cords and try to match that up to this length here. That right there looks good. Snug it up. Looks pretty good to me, close enough. Make sure that's nice and tight, and then same thing. We'll flush cut and singe. And there we go, my friends. We have a really cool sliding bracelet. Oh my gosh, cannot so love it, love it. Let me get it open and see what we have here. Let's put it on and see if we can get it closed up here. A little bit of fidgeting, but we'll get it. But they're so easy anyway. I mean, the fact you can really do them with one hand. And there we go, guys. That's what we have. Isn't that fun? It's just, and it's so, like, just whimsy, and just love that. Now, if you want to be more particular and have those even, you can absolutely, you know, pull these up, right? If your cords are longer on one side like mine are, you can absolutely just, you know, pull them up, guys, after you put your bracelet on like this, and then just snip it, right? Snip it to size. But, you know, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. You know, sometimes I like things to be asymmetrical. If you've been with me any kind of time, you know that's kind of my thing. So at any rate, guys, I hope you enjoyed designing a fun bracelet with me. Our first project for hot days and August, no, hot days and neon nights. I would say August nights. Obviously, guys, obviously, I cannot even remember the name of my own sparkle bag. Oh, it's so fun. I love this. I love this. Oh my goodness. Until the next time, my friends, be blessed.